We just lost two.
It was a long hour.
Hmm.
This is ready.
February 9th?
Tomorrow.
I thought it was the 10th.
No, it goes into
It's
effect
ninth?
tomorrow.
Okay.
And I did not go out to see if they were putting up signs today or not, or if they're gonna put them up tomorrow, but just make as much public amount of, information
is.
as we can.
It is.
Have the media's report.
Yes.
Selection change on Jen. My family of four, and I'm taking Marissa, our niece. We are going to drive to South Padre Island where my in-laws winter. Yeah. So ask me next week at this time if that's a vacation or not. It's
How's
to
your
be
Spanish?
determined.
We
We'll
got
find out.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4 capable drivers.
We do. A rental van, picture of my family in a rental van. So yeah, it's like a Griswold vacation. What I'm anticipating.
Did you get to talk to Chuck about the speed limit change and stuff?
Okay.
Tonight? Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm. Could be
We really
interesting.
wanna let the public know, because they're so used to for 30 years or whatever, 65 mile an hour.
To a lot of people
You know?
who have done it.
It'll be a change, no
Yeah.
different than when we put the stop
Right.
signs, stoplights at Subway.
Absolutely.
Since
Totally with you.
21.
Totally agree.
One day.
And the one thing is,
One day.
well, read the paper, listen to the radio, read the minutes. No
From what I
excuses.
understand, you're
When
halfway
I
there
told
when
them
you
if
get
they're
to
over
the Texas
65 mile an
border.
hour, rather than take them
Top
anyway.
part.
They shouldn't have been doing over,
Right.
over 65, so.
Hello there, Commissioner Corbin.
Hey, when Kelly is ready, we
We're on,
will.
we're rolling, go for it.
Yep, all right, let's call the meeting to order. It is 5:38. Jen, take roll.
Commissioner Corbin.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Waldner.
Here.
Commissioner Thel.
Here.
Mayor Lindsay.
Here. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda for this evening?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'm going to ask in that if we have anyone here who wants to speak on the hearing that's supposed to be scheduled at 5:35. If not, I'm going to leave it where it's at and move to Rosie Jamison. All right. Rosie, would you like to come up to the microphone and update us on the Chamber of Commerce?
I certainly will, and hello Commissioners and Mayor Lindsay, it's a pleasure to be here. Very much appreciate having the opportunity to give you an exciting update from your chamber. And we got I decided to put a few things on a white paper for you, and we'll kind of talk freely about them. Please interrupt me at any point in time if you have some questions or some thoughts. But I'd like to tell you that short of the fact that it's a little bit breezy outside, I can't think of a better place to be than right here with you at 5:35 on a Monday afternoon. So, and of course, happy Valentine's Week to all of you. All right.
Wow, it's already coming here.
You know, since it's breezy and it's cold outside, it's kind of hard to talk about Discovery Day in July 25th, but I did want to tell you that we had a tremendous day, and a lot of that is due to the fact that we have tremendous cooperation from the city. We don't only have the city departments helping, we also have the city pool and the community center that make that day a tremendous day. So thank you to everyone. We have the street closures that we know make a difference for the safety of everyone, and we continue to have that grow. That was the 3rd annual Discovery Day, and we plan to have the upcoming one on July 30th, this upcoming year, 2016.
30th or?
25th.
July 25th.
Well, that
is
was 2015.
but
This
July
year's the
30th
I'm
is
sorry.
2016, right. I threw you a curve there, just seeing if you're reading.
Change
Thank you
the,
very much. So,
Okay.
many of
Change
you
the
know that we had Capital for a Day, and that
Which is
was
good.
back on August 19th. But the chamber director told the mayor at that point in time that I'll take care of this, make sure and get this framed and matted. So it will be done. But I wanted to pass around the proclamation that was given to Mayor Lindsay at that time, and we are very proud to have had the governor and his entourage here. A couple things that may be of interest to you. I don't know if all of you really knew what we did throughout that day, but it was a collective effort between not only the chamber office, but the city of Madison, the mayor specifically, and also the Lake Area Improvement Corporation. We had the opportunity to have the governor here for that entire day, but they decide what we do. And you will see that this was kind of what we provided to the governor's entourage at that point in time. And we had the LAIC director, Julie Gross, myself, as chamber director, Mayor Lindsay, and the two presidents of those two entities. They only wanted 5 people along with them. And we stopped at business tours throughout, and many of you read about it at the time. But we had our community completely put out the red carpet for the governor and his staff at that point in time, and First Lady. And they have talked about it in various sessions, and when I was visiting with Governor Dugard again, he commented on the day in Madison and what tremendous response he had and how well organized and how informative it was. So that only speaks well to everyone that coordinated that effort and provided the tours to us. We had people that actually stopped all of their work during that day and had their employees there with the governor. Those kinds of things speaks volumes when he's looking at a variety of things in decision-making. We also had a variety of things that we covered during the luncheon, and that was primarily on all areas of transportation. And those of you that were reading the information about that subsequent to the Capitol visit, we did talk about a variety of things, and that was instrumental in a conversation that Secretary Berquist was willing to listen a little bit further when Mayor Lindsay brought forward concerns on safety on turning lanes on Highway 34. Those kinds of things are extremely important, because then it was brought up again during the visit with DSU Madison host the legislature just last week. So those kinds of things take a little while, but we do move forward, and hopefully we will see some relief on those areas. Even though we may not be looking at 4 for 34, we may have other areas that will come forward. We also had a very good set of tours in trying to cover our healthcare system with the new regional healthcare system, Madison Regional Health System. We also had one of our traditional industries with Rosebud Manufacturing in their 50th year, and last but not least, our education facility, the newest. And they had an opportunity to see what the Madison High and Middle School complex was. And of course, they came and departed on our tremendous municipal airport, so all those things came together well. The proclamation is something that I think always gives us all a good feeling about our community, and certainly it will as it rests in the office of the mayor once it gets framed by John Green right here. 85th anniversary. I know that this was something that you think, why are you celebrating 85 years? Well, 1930 was kind of a dismal time to start a chamber, if you keep in mind what was going on in history at that point. But on page 4 of the current newsletter, we put out all the did you know facts. And many of you probably had a chance to hear about them or read about them, but on page 4 it kind of outlines them all together. It also is on the website. And what this provided for people in the community, I have had more folks talk to me about the chamber and what kinds of historic information was brought forward and what they did or did not know about Madison that really instilled pride, provided them information, and certainly considered having them consider more local thoughts and spending local, so that was positive. The other thing that is happening of late was Madison Manufacturing Days, and we didn't move forward on touring this year because we've done it for 2 years in a row. So what we decided to do is have our media partners with KJM and Madison Daily Leader actually featured 10 of our industries where they visited them, and they also had Q&A with them, and then they promoted that on their respective media areas. Those kinds of things are allowing different people that didn't have an opportunity to tour have more information about what's out there, that the impact it has upon our economy, as well as the future for our students and residents to be able to consider employment. Not only that, we also had a follow-up for our students on October 28th, and we had them visiting 5 different locations. This was co-coordinated with LAIC and the Chamber, And that partnership between us works really well because we're able to tap in, divide and conquer our capabilities in having opportunities brought forward and information shared. Coordinating a new holiday kickoff. We've talked about this in the past, but I want to again extend our appreciation on behalf of the chamber members for all of the efforts that was done by the commission and the city employees and different departments to make the community kickoff, the initial event, a success, and in particular, the community Christmas tree. Oftentimes, this didn't only extend appreciation and extend a holiday spirit, but it brought forward community pride. And with that, also help people think about, oh, you know, I guess I will stay and shop in that, enhance those kind of numbers for us, which all impacts our tax revenue, which was just shared by Jim. Linked to that are our chamber bucks. We did have an increase on chamber bucks, which obviously can only be spent here in Madison with chamber members. And in 2015, we had 4,100 and some odd chamber bucks that were purchased for a total of $81,815. In 2014, we had 68,000. And that's an increase of about 19%. So we're really happy to see that, a little over 19%. And we appreciate all those organizations that choose to use chamber bucks as a way to recognize employees, as a means to recognize special events for their loved ones, and gift option. It has a tremendous impact upon our community and our sales tax base, and people to think this way overall. Of course, we really appreciated the partnership that was shown from the school district in recognizing their teachers with $100 each by the end of the year, this past year. That promotes and benefits all of us, the school district, the community, the city of Madison, each one of our members, and of course, the chamber, because our members and community are benefited. Website. We have the chamber master website template that we will be implementing. We signed a contract to move forward on that, and we'll hope to have the goal of May 1st that it will be completely interactive, web-based. The template will be more user-friendly, and it will be mobile capable, which is what we have needed. And as I mentioned, in early May. The depot. You have invested a tremendous amount in the depot for us at the chamber, so we are coming back with our maintenance and repair budgets. LEIC and the chamber have worked together on having the floor refinished. It was just recently done. It's in the process of being cleaned, and we're moving things back. We also have had some impact with some needs of plumbing and furnace, so that maintenance and repair budget has been hit kind of hard, but that's what happens when you have a place that is utilized, and we're glad to have that for everyone to enhance what we can show as our showcase and storefront for the community. In addition, we had office furnishings that were donated, and your city electrical department has benefited us by having the electricity improved and redone for all the wiring of our network administration, and it makes us have less wires to trip on, which is always a good thing, and have a much better appearance. Tourism. I have in my hand that I've been flipping back and forth, something that I will again pass over to Chad. And tourism, we are a member of the Tourism Association. I am the one of the 16-member board of directors of Southeastern Tourism. When we think about Southeastern Tourism Association, that is from the Missouri River to the Iowa border, Nebraska, Minnesota, and Highway 34. We are in the very northern section of that. We submitted and were successful in 2015 fall and spring for $2,500 and $1,300 respectively for tourism-related promotion. This is one of those things that paid for. And it will also go toward the billboard and several other things. But as you recall, the billboard is far more than the total of these two. So that is augmenting it along with other members that are partnering with the Chamber and LEI and Lake Area Improvement Corporation. In July, we hosted 16 members of that board on Lake Madison and took a cruise on Lake Madison. This is extremely beneficial to cross-sale and cross-market our attraction with how much I know about theirs and they know about our area. And from that, we had a group of women out of the Garrettson and Iowa area that had a bus come to Madison of about 40 on August 18th and spend the day in Madison. Those are the kinds of things to get our story out that can really help us. I also was the hostess slash bartender of the I-29 winery tour during our most recent South Dakota Tourism Conference. And in that position, you have the opportunity to meet and greet a lot of the legislators and visit with them. And of course, I have the Madison name tag on, and they asked more about us there. Then they subsequently saw us during Madison DSU host the legislature, so those kinds of rapport building opportunities really help our community. State Tourism Conference. We were featured on 2 Glacial Lakes and Prairies as well as southeastern South Dakota. As new things that are happening, we highlighted the Madison Regional Health System, we talked about the new businesses downtown, and we also had submitted to them new ownership of attractions on Lake Madison. Secretary Hagan also highlighted Madison and Prairie Village in the upcoming 50th anniversary of the historic Prairie Village in 2016. That was done during the Governor's Tourism Banquet as well as a luncheon for Visitors Alliance. 2015, some of this is linked to what Jen had just shared with you. But I had asked the tourism department to provide me a breakdown, and Jen and I talked about this, maybe about August or September, the impact of Prairie Village in the start of the school year to us in the community. So when they had done a Southeastern board meeting and I saw how high we were, you had talked about per month and some of the breakdown, Mike, on your earlier conversation. This is just the bed, board, and booze tax component and the receipts, which generally has a part of this, but obviously this is something that impacts the chamber quite a bit with our attractions and so forth. So I took from what Kurt Hulstein of the Department of Tourism had provided. He does research and management. You've got the numeric comparison here from 3 years, and then on the flip side, you have a line graph. So sometimes some of us are more visual, it's a little bit easier to see. One thing that you can see are the peak and valleys on different times of the year. And I think that's really advantageous, but of course, we ended up with $385,000 more this year than last year, which was a 1.6% increase. So good news there, and I know that we continue to have positive things happening in the Madison area, and we just had that celebrated as we were visiting with everyone at the Madison DSU hosted legislature, with many of you have seen some of the reports that our media friends have provided to us. We also had 4 of our Leadership Madison community service projects represented during the District 8 luncheon. We had over 110 delegation from Madison attending, including displays such as South Dakota Association for Rural Water, the Madison Regional Health System, and of course DSU. We also had over 80 dignitaries and legislators attend and visit with us during that session. This is coordinated by the Chamber Governmental Affairs Committee, and sponsors are attributing that and supporting that to the level of over $8,000. Last but not least, we have the Greater Madison Area Chamber of Commerce annual meeting upcoming on March 29th. Please mark your calendar. That will be at the Dakota Prairie Playhouse, 5:30 to 7 or so. And that is what we always appreciate, everyone coming and enjoying what the feats of the year have been and recognizing businesses and distinguished service. We had a call yesterday that came through that's very, very exciting to us. Since I've been the chamber director, we have not had the opportunity to have the Visitors Center staff of all the interstates visit Madison. The director of the Visitor Center contacted me, Nate Johnson, and suggested that they would be coming on April 30th. We need to host them when that happens, and that's 40 employees to stay overnight, eat, sleep, and learn about all our attractions. So that will be something I'll be working with the board on, and also our members, to see how we can make that happen, and part of where your budgeted dollars that you provide us will have to go. if we decide that that is an important way to have those people know about Madison, to help visitors consider coming this direction. With that, we continue to investigate and work with the various billboard providers on not only a billboard to be retained and increase the size on 29, but also we will display Madison overall as of May. Right now, it has changed from one of our partners to another one right at this point, which is at exit 109. And then we're hoping to have that on 90. I haven't given up yet because you did provide us an increase in our budget, not to the tune of what the cost is, but if we can get enough partners in with it, we can cover that during this summer. Do any of you have any thoughts or questions or anything that you have of me at this time?
Just a question here. When you're looking at bringing those 40 visitors in and that, you know, if you wanted to host them in one area and that Camp Lakota comes to mind, the one house alone sleeps, I think, 20 or 22.
The one
So-
thing that they talked to me about is they are looking at 40 people and they probably would need 20 rooms. And I just got this Thursday afternoon and I wanted to avail all of the accommodations the same opportunity.
Mhm.
So that's absolutely correct. And keep them a little bit closer to if they're going to do some things in Madison in the evening. So looking at the possibility of, as they arrive at 11 o'clock on Saturday, it happens to be the Dan Barker Relay that day, and then move forward in the community as the stores, retailers are open, eat here, go to one of the attractions in the lakes on one side, and then finalize the night on the other. So that would work quite well. And then divide and conquer with the different food options, because we have many that would
We
be
do.
good for them to try.
Very good. Questions or comments?
Thank you, very thorough
Thank you.
report.
Thank you.
Thanks, folks.
Thanks, Rose.
Thank
Stay
you.
warm.
You too.
Yes. Okay, does anyone have anything from the consent calendar and that they would like pulled off? If not, do we have a motion to accept the consent calendar?
I make a motion, we accept the consent calendar.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under old business, a hearing on proposed ordinance 1581, Appendix B, zoning. If there's no one to speak on that, then we will move to number 2, which is second reading of ordinance 1581, Appendix B, zoning. If we have no questions or comments, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to acknowledge the second reading of ordinance number 1581, amend Appendix B zoning.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under new business, resolution number 2016-1, establish rates for qualifying energy efficient devices. Brad, would you like to address that?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, we had previously approved a resolution that set some of the rates. After getting into the program, we had a phenomenal response after the initial setting of those rates. There were some things that we found that had been misunderstood from the program, and so we wanted to get the program right in our resolution and change it. There were individual numbers written down for the different rebates, and we wanted to just put it as a maximum because there are some rebates that are less than that. And instead of writing out a 3-page resolution, writing down every single one, we just put out the maximum amount we could give for each type of rebate. And there was a misunderstanding between myself and Ann at Heartland where she had, we'd asked about new appliances, new things, and she said, no, we don't do any of that. And I understood that as being for the entire program when she was thinking it was only, I was asking just about appliances. And so I applied that to the whole thing, and then lo and behold, no, they do have new in there, so we had to make that amendment. So that was a misunderstanding between myself and Ann, but we got that all straightened out. So everything now, as far as I know, has been through multiple reviews, and I'm pretty sure this one is as good as it's gonna get. Like I said, we had some people come in and ask for things that weren't in the program, and we wanted to look at whether or not we wanted to add those in, so. We had great response already.
And so the thing, and that for the public to do at this point in time, is if they have any questions, stop back in. and ask,
Yes.
so. Any other questions or comments?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2016-1, establish rebates for qualifying energy efficiency devices.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thanks.
Thanks, Brad. Number 2, authorize the mayor to sign the agreement with ACS Contracting on the sidewalk improvement program for 2016. And I'll ask Chad to address this, please.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. We were preparing the plans for our upcoming improvements in 2016. I know those I put before you. We use those plans to bid typically. However, state law does provide if there has been a bid, and I can let David correct me if I'm wrong on any of these things. If there is a bid within the last 12 months that's been approved, we can use that bid again the following year within that 12-month period for going forward. ACS Contracting, we talked about that with them, about the option to do that. They agreed that they would like to accomplish this work for the city of Madison. It would be at the exact same bid unit prices that they did last year. The quantities changed, so that's going to change the price of the contract. But the quantity, the unit prices will stay the same. Essentially, no cost increase. He's doing the work in 2016 for the same price he did in 2015. And that's the overarching thing I wanted to emphasize about that point. And so we provided the exact same contract with the updated information for the new quantities to Mr. Jordahl for him to review if he was comfortable with that, and he was. There is the contract and the agreement is in the agenda packet, and there's also a document, a work tabulation form, where those units are all extended, showing how they would add up to the total contract price of $320,413.96. As you may recall, these projects, we bidded this for assuming that the city is going to do all the work and no landowners are going to accomplish any work themselves. However, most of the time they do. Our contracts have ranged in the last 5 to 7 years to the contractor doing anywhere from 50% to about 35% of the work. The rest of it, and that's strictly by dollars. The rest of it was accomplished by the landowners, because statute does also provide through the assessment process that you have to allow landowners themselves or a contractor that they hire an opportunity to do that first. And so I mentioned the number of 320,000. That number will undoubtedly be less. There is some city liability in there, if you will, where it's along city properties or there's city repairs. When I extend those prices out for the amount of city work, that's within the budgeted items. We're going to draw from a budgeted item in 2016, a line item that this commission approved, and we're also going to draw from reserves in 2016 for the city properties along the assessment project. When I plug those units in, we are within budget. Anything over that will be recouped through the assessment process from the landowners, should they choose to want the city to do their work. So I would recommend that ACS had completed the project on time last year. It's a local contractor. I have not heard any complaints from landowners about their work. I thought they did good work. You know, we always have to work closely with all contractors when we do this, due to the nature of the work. I'm satisfied with their work. I would recommend that the commission proceed with the contract with ACS, contingent upon them providing the appropriate payment and performance bonds. That's a process that's typically handled in the bidding process before the agreement is signed. But I believe you can authorize approval of this, but the contingency then, the contractor will go forth from that point after we give him this notice and talk to his bonding folks to secure the appropriate bonds. I'll let our attorney, David, review those to assure they're proper, and then I'll ask the mayor to execute the agreement when all is in order.
Sounds very good. And since the projects were bid last year and that, moving forward on it within the 12-month period is something that we have done in the past. And so with that, questions or comments?
I guess I have a question. I know it's legal to do it this way, but is it the fair way, the right way to do this? I don't know. I have mixed feelings on this about how you can piggyback probably isn't the right word to use, but, it's just something that I just don't feel that we should go from year to year. We should re-advertise bids, but it's just my opinion. So,
How long can the piggybacking extend? Is it only good for, we couldn't do the same thing next year, correct?
This is the way it works is it can end up to be a 2-year deal. You receive a bid, to use the term piggyback, 1 more year, same unit price, but after that, it's done.
You gotta go over it again. So I think there is some parameters around it, Bob, you know, I understand your concern, but I think it's acceptable myself.
I'm happy to see we can hold our costs, and we're gonna get a contractor that's gonna get the work done in
Yeah.
the time allowed, which has
but I
both
mean,
been
it's
problems in
just
the
like
past.
anything, you know, you can buy off of another bid, and I'm not fond of that, but it's what it is, so.
The one thing that it does
feelings.
do is it does save a few dollars for the taxpayer
Yeah.
and the property owner both.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Till
Yeah.
that, I'm sorry.
Not just from the cost going up, I mean, everything's goes up every year, seems like, and to be able to hold that to another year, but then also the time and the effort and everything that it takes to bid that thing.
Yeah.
And the
that's-
cost.
that's-
I
And the
had-
cost of all of that's
Right.
pretty expensive, so.
I had went up and talked to Chad this morning earlier on about it, and I just said that with me being a new commissioner, I'm still trying to learn the ropes and stuff, but, it was just my thinking and my opinion, so.
And he-
Nothing
and
against
he
the
and I had
engineer's
gone over this
office
last
or
week, so-
ACS
so-
contracting. I like them both, so.
Obviously, somebody's looked at this before because they've been living at home and could be. What was the thing they needed, bond, what was it, the bond, and what was the other thing you said?
Contingent upon the appropriate payment bond and performance bond, that's,
They'll need to bring 2 bonds to us.
Right.
You know, the state law requires
Yeah.
those. But you could approve this tonight contingent upon the delivery.
Okay.
If I may, Your Honor, the other part I might just like to add is, while it is true you bid, the prices could go down if you rebid it. Since we've done it, they've traditionally always just went up by a small percentage every year, which is kind of what you see with inflation and such. So, but it is a true statement that they could potentially go down. The other item I wanted to point, and I made this point in the past, I wanted to point out was the deadline for this work is June 2nd of 2017. Most every year, we ask the contractor to complete the work in the same year, but as you recall, because of the larger amount of work that we talked about with each school going 2 blocks out, there's much more work this year. So it's moved into the spring of 2017 when they would have to complete that by. That should still give us plenty of time to tabulate the totals, pay the contractor, create the assessment roll, and file it with Jen, so it can still, we won't lose a year, even though it's June, we won't lose a year in recouping the dollars, is one point I wanted to try to make about that, so.
very good. Other questions or comments?
I'd move to authorize the
Mayor?
mayor, that'd be you, right? Okay, just sign the agreement with ACS Contracting, sidewalk improvement bond, 2016, pending the payment and performance bonds, be forthcoming.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
I,
Motion carries. Okay, Jen, and note. Okay.
Got it, thank you.
Hey, number 3, authorize the mayor to sign agreement with local number 426 of the IBEW Employees Bargaining Unit. Jen, do you have any information you wanted to add to this?
You have in front of you the new one-year agreement for year 2016, IBEW, our friends out in the electric department. Only change between this contract and last year's one-year contract is, of course, the 2% wage increase, which is reflected in Schedule A.
Okay.
Nothing else has changed.
All right.
Before we know it, we'll be doing this again.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign agreement, local number 426 of the IBEW Employees Bargaining Unit.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 4, authorize the use of Police Technology Reserve for the Zerker RMS system. And Justin, would you like to address that, please?
Sure thing. Good evening. As you will recall back to budgeting, we are updating our records management system to Zerker Technologies. We are in the process of going through that upgrade at this time. We had set aside approximately $35,000 in the Technology Reserve Fund for the police department. For this project, it was our worst case scenario through the use of a Homeland Security Fund grant, 130 of the $164,000 total was covered. So our responsibility for that upgrade is $11,760.34. I'm asking for an additional $3,000 to round it up to $15,000 to help cover some costs. We've had some unforeseen costs with VPNs to get Zerker into our mobile units, which are in the squad cars. To relay the fact that I won't have to come back and ask again, I'm asking for a little bit of wiggle room. So what I'm asking for is $15,000 of that reserve fund to pay Zerker and any other associated costs with that installation.
Might it be less than that? I mean, are you sure about that extra 3,000?
It might be less than that, correct.
Okay.
It's, I did put a little wiggle room in my budget, but I just want to make sure that I've got enough there. Like I said, we had some unforeseen costs come up that we weren't expecting, that Infotech didn't know that we were going to need. So just to make sure we're covered.
So you're looking for authority to spend up to?
Correct.
Okay.
If you'd make that part of your motion, if you so choose to, please.
I'd authorize the use of the police technology reserve for Zerker RMS, $15,000 up to $15,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Justin?
Number 5, authorize the write-off of uncollectible miscellaneous sales. And Jen, I'm going to ask you if you'll explain that, please.
Yes, on file at the finance office is a listing of these uncollectible miscellaneous sales. The total does, as in the exhibit that I had sent to you earlier, the total does equal $17,000, $17,655.02, which is a lot to ask actually for a write-off, but these date back to 1975. Okay, depreciate that out over 4 years, that's not a bad percentage of a write-off, okay? Cleanup. This was an audit recommendation. They've been on our receivables for way too long. We simply need to clean up and start over.
And having gone through that list and that, there are a number of people that are on that list that have passed away. And there is, no way of doing anything differently, so.
And as I stated, any new miscellaneous sale that's not paid in an appropriate time frame, we now have a collections procedure that we are abiding by, and also special assessments. Any kind of mowing can be special assessed. Learned that through the audit process too. So we will take care of any future uncollectible sales.
So,
There's a time limit on how far you can go back, right, David? Yeah.
45 years, isn't it?
40 is too
No,
long.
the accepted limit is about 6.
Yes.
For these sorts of utility collections, so
And they are all over. They're not actually utility bills, they're miscellaneous sales. So any purchase of water, electric, services, just all kinds of things.
services even have a shorter
Okay.
statute, so it's time.
Thank you.
It is time.
I make a motion that we authorize the write-off of the uncollectible miscellaneous sales.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Declare as surplus property and appoint appraisers for scrap aluminum wire. And Brad, is there anything you want to add? Because we know what it is. So Jeremiah, do you have anything to add?
No, but I will make a motion
Very
to
good.
declare surplus property scrap aluminum wire and appoint Jeremiah Corbin, Brad Lawrence, and Chad Comas as appraisers.
There you go.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 7, declare as surplus property and authorize the proper disposal of electric meters. And again, is there anything you'd want to add on that, Brad?
No.
Zero value
Jeremiah?
is the
What can be
reason.
said?
I'll make a motion to declare surplus property electric meters and appoint Jeremiah Corbin, Brad Lawrence, and Chad Comas as appraisers.
Please, don't need to.
What?
It's
Don't
for,
need to. They're zero
for
value.
disposal.
Oh, well, I was on a roll, so I just kept going.
All right,
I'll
we
second
have a
that.
motion. Do we have a second? All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under announcements, the first one is change in meeting date from February 15th to February 16th, due to February 15th being a holiday. And then, second motion, or second announcement?
Announcement that Department of Transportation is changing the speed limit on East Highway 34 coming into Madison. As we all know, you're going 65 miles an hour and then it drops to 30. And they're gonna start stepping that down from, I believe, the John Deere corner. It's gonna turn to 55 and then they're gonna step it down. The key to this is that it's effective tomorrow is when it goes into effect. So I'm assuming they were out there changing poles out today or whenever. So the police department is well aware of it, and we're hoping that, you know, it's been that way forever, for decades, I think the mayor said, and so we're gonna have to have a little bit of a learning period as we learn to step the speed limit down. And probably the biggest part's gonna be that 55 mile an hour change out by the John Deere corner, Stemper Auto Body corner, and so just be aware of it. We're hoping that the public picks up on that they know about it. And again, police department knows about it. They may stop people, give them a courtesy, informational warning that obviously it's changed. So, but mostly just want to get the word out there.
And
Yeah.
just, you know, to let people know, and that if you're doing over 65 and you would have gotten a ticket anyway, you're gonna get a ticket too.
You'll
So,
probably get one then, for
you
sure.
know, but if you're 65 and under in that, chances are the first one's gonna be a warning. Just to remind you, things have changed. And it won't take too long and that, and people will adjust to it, so. Do we have an executive session? No. All right, there's nothing there.
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Don't run off.